Chapter 2, Section 8, Inequalities. Our objective today is to write and graph simple inequalities. An inequality is a mathematical sentence that contains the symbol greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or not equal to symbols. When we're graphing it on a number line, we need to know that an open circle means that we're going to use the less than or greater than symbol, and a closed circle means that we're using a less than or equal to symbol or a greater than or equal to symbol. One of the ways that helps me to remember it, which circle to use, is if it's a less than or greater than symbol, they only have one part. They have the arrow. And the circle has one part, the outside. If we have a greater than or equal to symbol or a less than or equal to symbol, they have two parts. They have the arrow and the line. And the filled in circle has two parts. It has the inside and the outside. So that's how I remember how to use these. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Just a reminder about inequality signs. If it's pointing to the left, that means less than. The left side of the inequality is smaller than the right side, so it's less than. So the opposite is true for greater than. The left side is bigger than the right side. Even without any numbers there, I'm looking at just the symbol itself. It's bigger on the left than on the right. And then we basically have the same for less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. You need to remember your symbols. So, for number one, we want to graph the inequality. It helps to be able to say it, so it's good to practice saying these. So how would you say this inequality? Hopefully you're thinking to yourself, y is less than 3. So we go to 3 on the number line, and y is less than that. So since it only has the arrow, it doesn't have the line, that means it is an open circle at 3. And I'll read the inequality again. Y is less than 3. Where are numbers less than 3? They're less than to the left. So we would put our line going to the left. It also helps, as long as the variable is in front, you can look at the inequality symbol, and whichever way it's pointing, that's the way that you draw your line. Would you try number 2, please? Pause the video, draw the graph, and then come back and see if you got it correct. So number 2, we would read that as x is greater than -4. So we'll find -4. Our inequality has one part, just the arrow, so that means my circle has just one part. That means I'm not including 4 in my answer, -4 in my answer. I want numbers bigger than -4, so numbers are bigger to the right, which is the same way that the inequality is pointing. Would you pause the video, please, and try 3 and 4? Okay, so for number 3, we got t is less than or equal to 6. So I'm going to find 6, and it's less than or equal to, so that means 6 can be part of my answer. So that means I'm going to have a closed circle here. I want it to be smaller than equal to or smaller than 6. So where are numbers smaller than 6? They're smaller to the left. For number 4, w is greater than or equal to -2. So find -2 on your number line, and our numbers are going to be bigger than or equal to. So it can be -2, so we'll put a closed circle there. And where are numbers bigger? They're bigger to the right. Which way is my inequality pointing? To the right, as long as the variable's in front. Now we want to write some inequalities. And it's usually helpful just to start with the easy stuff. So we know that we have a variable. It says a number c, so we'll put a c there. And it says is at least 12. Well, put the 12 in. Now we can fill in the inequality. It needs to be at least 12. So that means we can include it. So because 12 is at least 12. And I want it to be bigger than at least. I want at least that, preferably more. I'd like $12, but I'd prefer more. Would you try to set up number 2? The total t is greater than 7. Did you put the t? And did you put the 7? You should at least be able to do that. And I want greater than 7. I want more than 7. So that's bigger on the left. Now here's our 2 tricky ones. Number 3. A number n is positive. So we'll start with n. That's easy. Where's the dividing line between positives and non-positives? Well, that is 0. 0 is not a positive, and it's not a negative. It's right in the middle. And to get a number to be positive, I want to go to the right. So a number n is negative is basically just going to be the opposite. N and 0 again. But now I want negative, so it needs to be on the left-hand side of the number line. Here we want to write an inequality, so start with any variable. I'm going to start with x. Where is my dot? Where is my point at? It's at -4. So I'll put it at -4. Now I need to look at my dot. Do I have an open or closed circle? It's closed. That means it has 2 parts, so my inequality is going to have 2 parts. Which way is my line going? I'm looking for numbers bigger than -4, so it's going to go to the right, so I have greater than or equal to -4. Number 6. Would you give that one a try? Be careful about the number because people mess up on the number a lot for some reason. It's not -12. Let me give you that hint. So I picked any variable. I did d this time. And my number is actually -11. Now I need to decide, do I put a line underneath my inequality or not? My circle has 1 part, so my inequality should have just 1 part. I'm looking for numbers bigger than -11, so that means d is greater than -11. Would you try these 2? Okay, so for number 7, I'm going to pick k this time, and my number is -1. That's pretty straightforward. It's an open circle. That means no line underneath, no or equal to. And I'm looking for, my line is going to where numbers are getting smaller, so that means k is smaller than -1. Number 8. I got z. I got a 1. My arrow's going to the right, so my arrow is going to go to the right. Although I forgot to mention that my circle was closed, so that means it had 2 parts, so my inequality needs 2 parts. Would you try these 2, please? Okay, x is greater than 1, so find 1. My inequality has 1 part, so my circle has 1 part. That means I'm not including 1 as part of my answer. I'm looking for greater than 1. Numbers are greater to the right. Number 10. X is greater than or equal to -1. So we do -1. And since my inequality has 2 parts, my circle needs 2 parts. That's telling me I'm including -1 as one of my possible answers. So it is an answer that will work. And since we're pointing to the right, we'll go to the right. Would you try these 2, please? Okay, so I find 1 And A is greater than or equal to 1, so I'm going to include 1 as my answer. And greater than means I'm going to the right. Here's a little tricky one, not too bad. I've got Q is less than or equal to 1/2. Less than or equal to, so I find 1/2, that's going to be between 0 and 1. Less than means I'm going to the left. Would you try to write an inequality for these three situations? Use the variable that they gave and do the best you can. So, number 13, fewer than 3 people went to Mr. Gore's birthday party. Let n be the number of people who went to the party. So we got n, we got 3. Now we need to decide, are we including 3 in our answer? It says fewer than 3 people. So did 3 people go? If fewer? No. So that means n is going to be less than 3. Number 14, the speed limit is 60 miles per hour. Let s be the speed of a car driving within the limit. So I'll do s and 60. Can I drive 60 miles an hour and have it still work? Sure. So that means I'm going to include it as an answer. So s is less than or equal to 60, which means I can drive slower than 60, and I can actually drive 60 and not have to worry about a ticket. Last problem. The ride at Castle Park says you must be at least 48 inches tall in order to ride. Let h be the height required. So there's my height required. What number do I have? 48. And I want it to be at least equal to that, so it could be greater than that or equal to. And that's it.